What's up guys, it's your boy Goosenov, back at it again with another video. A good old time friend of mine, Dr. G. Bimsley, is a notable void scientist. And today I'm going to be showing you guys some of his fascinating research. Alright, starting out with our first one today, we have void entity number 159, or also known as the long-armed Blorngus. These peculiar entities tend to hide out in abandoned stairwells. They lure pretty much anyone down into the stairwells, and I'm not going to go into what they do, but not many people get out of it in one piece or in the same shape that they were when they went down those stairs. Alright, let's get into the second one of today. We have void entity number 23, and his name is... It was actually a genetic experiment. I'm not gonna get into the details. It was kind of funded by a furry Kickstarter right after society pretty much collapsed after the 2081 and such. They definitely had their priorities right. Let me. This furry group decided to dabble in bioengineering. I believe that they were trying to create a genetically modified cat girl, but the results were not very good. They realized that house cats didn't really have the genetics didn't really work. Something with the chromosomes, so they used like a leopard or a lion or a tiger. I think they might have done a combination of all those. They spliced them up and combined them with the human genome, and that wasn't fun at all. This shady society called the Cult of Hadron actually pioneered dimensional transport, dimensional travel. They ended up transporting him into the void. I don't know why. They might have tried to quarantine these entities or something like that, and they stayed there and they developed and they mutated for a long time because it was outside of Earth's gravity well, since Earth was right next to XB52-1, and pretty much millions of years of evolution went on for these beings. And when void wanderers first started going into the void in the 2300s, they were greeted by a terrifying sight. So the next entity we have is actually entity 102. Not much is known about this except for the fact that it's somewhat tied with the Shadow Men. I don't know. Moving on. Now this was a very common void entity. It's entity 72. It's called a rectangular grungus. These things are about as common as cows are on Earth. They're not as docile as cows. Let me put it that way. What these strange creatures do is when they see you, they end up rapidly kicking you. It's not fun. I've been kicked several times by one of these. You don't want it to happen. It bruises you up pretty well. One time I saw one of these. We were stumbling through these caves in the void. This large mountain, Sector 32, me and a few other researchers. And we were walking through the mountain, walking through these dark, long chasms. They had huge arches. The ceilings went up like hundreds of feet, and huge stalactites. Sometimes the stalactites, they were falling down every once in a while. We were running through there. And so a ton of these one of those started falling down. So we started sprinting. We were trying to go for cover. We weren't like tracking, seeing if there were any life forms in front of us. We wanted to get the hell out of there, you know? So we made it into one of these caves. One of the stalagmites fell right at the mouth of the cave and it blocked us in there. So we kept walking down, and then we saw this underground lake. We had been in this cavern for a few hours now, so we sat down and we got some water to drink. We weren't really paying attention because we were so flustered. We kind of ignored like a herd of these weird things like at the edge of the lake on the opposite side. And so we sat down, we collected ourselves, and we talked about like what we were gonna do. But then we were there, we were sitting down, we were talking, and before we knew it, we were surrounded by a herd of rectangular regular grunguses. And before we could pick up our blasters, before I could grab my railgun, you know, they already had swarmed us and they started kicking us. Yeah, so we were all on the ground, we were covering our face, whatnot, and they're kicking us, and they actually kicked me into the lake. And they can't swim. If they swim, then that's one of their weaknesses. See, the cardboard skin, but they kicked me into the water. The water actually had a pretty big current to it. It swept me away, and I was going toward this whirlpool in the middle and got sucked down into this whirlpool. I got separated from the 2 scientists I was with, and I didn't hear about what happened to them until a few weeks later. I mean, they were still alive. They were at this nearby void trading post on the surface level of this void structure we were on, but they broke a lot of bones and they weren't in very good condition. But I fell down this whirlpool, right? And the thing with void structures, especially the one in I think the main one, VX9, essentially what happens is you have this giant shell, and then you have a few layers of these shell worlds. They're not like solid worlds like Earth, it's just like a very thin crust, and that's basically it. And you have a bunch of these shells until you go into the middle. It's a very small black hole, which creates a normal-ish gravity on the surface levels. So I fell down this whirlpool, and luckily I had my jetpack booster on. These layers are about like they're a few miles away from each other, and man, I was falling for a while, but I managed to accelerate and prevent myself from dying and whatnot. But got to the bottom, and that's a story for another day. But took me a while to get out of there. Let's put it that way. But anyway, that just about does it for this video. If you liked this video, then leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe, comment something. I know you're smart, so you better comment something smart on my post, please. And then just let me know what else you want to see on this channel. And we'll be posting more videos soon. You'll like them, or else. Peace. And don't forget, y'all better subscribe to Goose Knob.
Y'all better subscribe to Goose Knob!